Live from the Heartland Mamas studios, this is the Heartland Mamas podcast. I'm your host, Heidi Henry. The Heartland Mamas podcast is available on all podcast platforms, YouTube, TikTok, and proudly part of the Demcast USA network. As of today, we have 306 days left to save the USA. Your choice is clear. Either elect Democrats up and down the ticket every race, or we nosedive into fascism. Women have already lost their rights and are losing their lives all around the country. This is how important this is. We heard today about how Trump and his family received personal millions of dollars from countries that we historically, as Americans, don't do business with because we know we can't trust them. But you can buy it, Trump. You can buy it, Trump, or one of its progeny. It's only going to cost you your mortal soul and your democracy. But they can be bought. Millions of dollars just in a report today, right in their pocket. And they're going to claim they wrote it off, but they won't show you their tax return. So we don't really know, right? But we do know. We do know what happened to that money. We do know he kept it. But that's not why I'm here tonight. I'm here tonight because that same Republican bullshit that brings you donations from other countries to put straight in the former president's pocket brought you another public school shooting in Perry, Iowa today. It's because to the Republican Party, an inanimate object has more rights than a child or than a woman in this country. And especially in Iowa, because a child took the life of another child, wounded 5 other people, and then took his own life. He took his own life. And Governor Kim Reynolds, the pious woman that she is, she clutched her pearls and offered the usual dogma of thoughts and prayers, and then wondered aloud, how would this happen in Iowa? Why would this happen here? Well, you know what, Kim? Let me tell you a little bit about your state that kid knows or knew, and that every kid knows in Iowa. Because right now, if you're an Iowa child, and you're 16, 17, 18 years old, you can now handle hazardous waste. That could kill you, but that's okay because you're a kid and we're going to send you to work with dangerous stuff that could kill you because this is Iowa. And if you're 12 years old, you could go to work for 4 hours after school, little Sally. You get your butt over to the coffee house and make Kimmie her latte. Come on, get going. You can work 4 hours after school. You can work 4 hours before school. You can work 4 hours overnight. But if you're 12, you get your butt to work at least 18 hours a week. That's under Kim's watch. And let's talk about what happened with public education, shall we? Because in Iowa, just recently, Governor Reynolds decided that K through 12 money, public education money, can now be put in private schools. That no kid has to attend public school. They can attend private school or homeschool and receive the same amount of money, just under $8,000, and taking that money from the public school system and putting it in the hands of private for-profit schools, those are called charters, or private religious schools that are 501c3 or 501c3s and do not pay taxes, okay? But they accept this money or into homeschool pockets, and that comes right out of your state education budget, so that's going to bankrupt your public schools. It'll take about 9 years and you won't really have a public school system. It'll be rich kids have school, the poor kids work 4 hours a day making lattes for Kimmie. So Kim Reynolds is destroying your public school system, and every child in Iowa knows that. And then Kim Reynolds decided that she hated poor kids so much, she decided that they shouldn't eat over the summer. See, there was free federal money to provide summer lunches for children because when poor kids come to school, often that's the only meals they eat all day long. That's all they get because their parents are too poor or too dysfunctional to feed them. So they go to school and they get fed. But Kim decided that she didn't want any part of this free money to feed kids over the summer, so she didn't take it because she not only hates poor people, but she especially hates poor kids. And before you go and blame mental illness for what happened today, Kim, remember, under your watch, 2 of your 4 state mental health hospitals closed. They closed under your watch, Kim. So don't you tell me that it's public mental illness issues. You also rank 47th in the amount of psychiatrists you have in your state because you don't value mental health whatsoever. And you don't allow for mental health care under your Medicaid system. And your gun laws, let's talk about your gun laws, because now you don't need a permit to either buy a gun or keep it on your person. You don't need one for a handgun. You don't need to have a permit. And one of the guns used today was a handgun, right? So usually we're talking about weapons of war, but this time it's a handgun. I mean, most of us have one. So Kim has made it so anybody can have one, and you can have it without a permit. So this child had one, didn't he? So, and also, Kim is so proud of their shoot first law. And the shoot first law means anybody who feels intimidated or afraid of any other person can cold-blooded murder somebody else. And that's called stand your ground or shoot first. And that sets a perfect example of how society handles its problems, doesn't it, Kim? This child that murdered today learned that lesson from you, Kim Reynolds, learned it so well that that's how society deals with its problems by the point of a gun, that they took that lesson that you taught them and took care of it just the way you expected them to. Just exactly that way. And it's 2004, January 4th, we've already had 2 mass school shootings, one in Virginia and one in Iowa. In 2023, we had 630 mass shootings in the United States. Almost 40,000 people are dead. Dead. They don't come back, Kim, and they don't vote for you. They're dead. That's it. They're gone. And if you can't learn the lesson of school gun violence taught in Iowa 12 times before, from 1984 until just last year, when people were killed in school. If you can't learn that lesson, Kim, 12 times now, you're a terrible student. Your first job is to take care of the people in Iowa, including the kids, including the poor kids, including the Republicans, including the Democrats, including the independents, everybody. You look out after yourself, and you look after the fat cats whose butts you keep kissing, DeSantis and Trump, instead of thinking about the people that elected you. And you let them down again. On average, 302 people die and 489 are wounded by guns in Iowa every year. They have the 38th highest rate of gun violence in the USA, and 78% of those are suicides. That's because you have really crappy mental health care. Crappy. 47th in the nation. It's easier to kill and easier for kids to know that there's no hope and no help for them if they live in Iowa. The field of dreams is now a bloodbath nightmare with Kim Reynolds at the helm. And those are the truths of this matter. That's the truth of this matter. Kim Reynolds has led you down a really bad dead-end path. Dead-end path. And she's your leader. The people, the 3.2 million people who live in Iowa, they want health care. They want mental health care. They want gun violence protection. They want hungry kids to be fed. They want human rights for all people. They want food for people. The people of Iowa do not want to be forgotten or neglected any longer. Every single lower house seat is up for grabs. Every office, every representative seat can be stormed and flipped. Iowa is longing for some good old-fashioned Iowa common sense, and common sense has been hard to come by for a long, long, long time. If you are truly pro-life, Kim Reynolds, then you will put down your weapons and make peace and prosperity what Iowa is all about. This is not a Republican or Democratic issue. This is a human issue. Every human wants children to be safe at school. Every human wants hungry kids to be fed. Every human wants children to have hope. Every human wants children to learn in their public school system. And every human wants a child to have a future and feel like they have a future, not feel like they have to kill because they feel like living in Iowa is the dead end of all dead ends. Iowa, Kim Reynolds has led you to this. This madness has to stop. Conservatives of Iowa, you'd better start conserving what little is left, because what you have is waning fast. And so, from the edge of the Great Red Divide, this has been the Heartland Mamas podcast, and I'm Heidi Henry.